What's up, peeps? In this video, we'll be talking about the newest news on the market, which is tropical battery SPO, which is really a fancy term for an APO with an extra step. So, if any of that interests you, stick around. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend. And with that said, let's begin. Alright, get some things out of the way. One, I've already recorded a video on this company. So, most of the information going to be the same for the most part. So, more than likely what I'll be doing is cross-referring from old video with this video. 2 me in my car, yes, because I'm not home, but the video must go on, as I always say. And why the light in the back is all I can buy for my new YouTube setup. Just that is stuff. So there is that. Alright, so we're going to talk about the history of the company, the products and services of said company. Then we're going to go into the offer. Yeah, then we're going to go into the offer. Bear in mind, I won't go too in depth on the company because I've already made a video on it. You can check it out afterwards if you want more information. But we're just getting the offer out of the way and to the history, and I'm going to literally pull from the video. Alright, so Tropical Battery was founded in 1950 by American businessman called Tech Williams. 17 years later, or 1967, it was then acquired by John Melvin and has remained in the family ever since. Initially, Tropical Battery was actually started as a lead acid manufacturer, but in the 1990s, it just transitioned and started focusing more on distribution rather than manufacturing, and eventually became the leading supplier of said batteries. While automotive batteries are still their core business, they do sell other stuff now that either facilitates energy creation or is directly affiliated by it. So stuff like solar panels or even different fuels that go into your car to make it operate. So in September 2020, the Tropical Battery was actually listed on the junior market for the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And one of the benefits that they have since gotten is the fact that when you list on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, 100% of your profit will be exempt from taxation for the initial first 5 years, and then the remaining 5 years, which is the following 50% of profits will be exempted from tax. And we're now in 2025, so technically they have like maybe, I think this year or maybe next year. Yeah, they have next year or so before they start paying 50% in taxes. Some profits supposed to be looking nice. Now, initially, as I say, their core business, like the core products that they sell or distribute is the battery. However, they do other stuff. Other stuff such as coolant, treatment, car care, car accessories, brake fluid, engine oil, solar products, and car tires. And then now, as it relates to the location, there are several locations, and these are the headquarters is in Kingston. They have one on the Mandela Highway, Stretch Kingston 20, which is ferry. They also have one in Ochi, Coconut Grove. They have one in Montego Bay, which is Catherine Hall Trade Center. You have one in Mandeville, Manchester, which is 6 Villa Road. And they have one in Grove Road, which is in Kingston, and another one in Ashnaim Road. Ashnaim Road was the one that I went to when my car actually broke down. Find out the battery dead. And funny enough, one of the growth factors that I had spoken about in the video that I did, I was speaking about the fact that they want to come to the main market, which means that they would have completed the I think 5-year tenure for the junior market. So now they're jumping to the main market. So there's that. And they speak about the factor accessing larger capital, enhanced credibility. Granted, when you're on the main market, there's more stricter rules in place for you. With great power and I guess accessibility comes great responsibility. Now for the offer. So the aim is to get 954 million new shares with the option to upsize to about 1.122
billion shares, and each of these shares would be sold at $1.87, which when I check the stock price today, it was at about 2 point something before, but then like by the end of today, it was actually a bit down compared to what is being offered. Say that's what, like 1.81 or something like that. Offer opens May 22nd and closes June 6th. Not sure if the offer going to still be throughout the tenure, meaning if by May 22nd the offer will still be there. Not sure, but more likely going to still be there because it's a billion shares essentially. So there is that. And what I did math is a little bit over $2 billion the aim to raise. So now the use of proceeds are basically four main things. The first one, of course, going to always be the fees, and that's estimated at about $80 million. The second one going to be debt repayment. A debt repayment of about 1.4 billion Jamaican dollars, which really is the money that they use to buy Rose battery. Other use of proceeds going to be is basically paying off a bond that they currently have, and the last one going to be whatever amount of money remaining going to be going towards the general working capital of the company. If you end up watching the video that I was talking about as relates to why I did put Tropical Battery in the growth categories, because they were making acquisitions, and yes, honestly, those acquisitions, when you look at the DuPont, it increased the leverage. However, you were not necessarily seeing any movement as relates to return on assets or return on equity, etc., etc. And that was because the acquisition was new. It needed time to actually set in, and them can put it on the books basically. And I remember when they were saying that they were acquiring the company, it was essentially like 50% of the market capitalization, which is a lot. So we know so that they put a strain on them financials. So I guess maybe this was a strategy that they had in mind to just say that, well, in 2025, because they've been making mention about coming to the market for APO, but in this case SPO. But as I say, this would basically help them to like reduce them liabilities, which would kind of give the company more breathing room for operation, and it would more align with them expansion plans. Additionally, they've always wanted to go to the main market. So with this now, they would actually, once this offer is completed, they would actually graduate to the main market, and it comes with the other benefits. Additionally, between basically 2022 to 2025, they've just been aggressively expanding. So they did acquire the property at Ferry Pen, basically spent $950 million, and then they also did acquire Kaya Energy in 2023, which essentially is like a renewable energy firm, like solar panels, etc., etc. So there is that, and that's based in Dominican Republic, which now they have a slice of the market in Dominican Republic. And then the Rose Electronic company that they're aiming to kind of clear up, which was a bank loan from CIBC, is really a battery manufacturing company that is located in California, which now they'll also have a share of the US market. So they've been expanding to Dominica and also expanding to the US. But as you can see now, they have a nice chunk based on their revenue that is in US, and another piece that is in Dominican Republic. Granted, Jamaica is still their largest company that makes them money, but they're gradually increasing. And this was in February 2024. So really, it's been a year now since Rose has been on their books. So you're going to see that coming out. Additionally, for the year, they were saying that they basically generated about $2.08 billion in revenue from Rose batteries, which translated to about $280 million in net profit. So basically, maybe like about 8 years or so, they make by the money. 8 years or so. So, and then with their new arm, which is Tropical Mobility, is where basically they like service EVs. They're also currently doing sales of EV, especially Teslas. And basically, when I went through the managerial discussion, essentially revenue and gross profit essentially doubled. Like revenue was basically 100.0% increase. So basically There was that. And then gross profit was up like 112.7% increase. However, that didn't necessarily translate over into the net profit, because that ended up falling to 76.3%. And guess what's the issue? The issue was the fact that they made the one-off purchase, so that affected their sheets. So they're basically squeezing them right now, basically. So the one-off acquisition and then integration costs, offset acquisition, you know, paying those monthly or yearly payments, is eating up them bottom line essentially. But with them rapid growth, I think now what they're going to do is, once this offer is closed and everything, and they get the money and everything, they should have more wiggle room, because essentially, if they do get what they're aiming at, you'd essentially cut about 40% of them liabilities, like right off the bat. So there is that. And the next thing I want to do is look at the website, because they have now upgraded their website. So we're going to just look at them website and just see some of the new stuff that they have showing, and then we'll just jump to the financials. It's not going to be anything long, as I say. Not be no long, just something short and quick. Alright, love people. So we're just going to jump to the, like, just want to on the website, see how it look. First thing first, it looks way better compared to the last one. You can see them battery sell battery, pretty people on screen, etc, etc. Scroll along, them have this little counting thing, so we can reload it, see the code, which is pretty cool. As you can see, it will show how much battery was sold or has been sold, how much has been recycled, and this is in metric tons. And that is good. That is good. Rose, as I tell you, is the battery company per se that they acquired. Rose Experts, a key manufacturer of mission critical battery situation, that leading tropical expansion into the US market, supported by high volume production in Mexico and strong partnerships for future growth. Da 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 da. The Kaya, as I was saying, they do more like solar, renewable energy kind of stuff. And yeah, so see, now they have drive innovation through our subsidiaries. And they have three subsidiaries. They have tropical renewable energy, and they have tropical mobility, and tropical financing. Each of them here really serves a purpose. You can say, so tropical renewable energy focus on providing renewable energy solutions to the Caribbean, essentially providing clean energy. And then mobility offers electrical mobility services to help businesses reduce their carbon footprint and operation costs. We now offer Tesla vehicles sales, as we also do Tesla vehicle servicing. So when I did the video, originally they were just servicing it through the memorandum of understanding. Now they're doing sales of said vehicles. So there is that. I'm more likely that going to be happening through the overseas counterpart. So there is that. I mean, sometimes I want them to actually like even try reach out to CEOs and talk to them. That'd be so cool. Um, they probably want to talk to Donovan first. Yeah, my G. Anyways, so some of them products and services, there are batteries, coolants, car care, brake fluid, engine oil, tire, car accessories, solar products, and treatments. And basically, the first two set them with their own here. So, battery, coolant, car care, those things are recurring expenses where like a driver would, pay. So, consistent. Them can maintain battery. Them can do free tests, which honestly, I feel like every test them do going to lead to a sale, because nobody really just a come to just carry them car and say, hey, I'm just test the battery, or something must happen. And then them say, all right, if they lead to a sale, it must lead to some form of sale for them in some other capacity. So there is that. So that's pretty much it. And now we'll actually just go to the financials.